Okay, hi everyone. As I promised, I wanted to go through some of these notes I didn't go through in class the other day. I'll go through also the directions for this week first, again, in case you missed it or if you have any questions. So if you're on our course page and you go down to week 3, which is what we're still in, happy February to all of you. I did move the dates back of the paper and also the speeches. So your paper is due the 10th and your speeches will be given then that following week after that. So you can pay attention to the dates and the announcements in the directions portion. Don't forget this week also, you're finishing up your discussion board on our article. We're going to be doing a peer review of paper 1. So you'll go here, follow the directions between the 29th, some of you have already done that, and between the 4th. You want to have uploaded your paper by the 3rd so that you'll be assigned others 2 essays to peer review from your classmates, and we can then talk about it in class next week. You just upload it like you would upload any sort of Microsoft document or a PDF like we talked about. So don't forget to do that. The other thing, if you go back to our modules tab, is please make sure to upload your resources for your paper so I can take a look and make sure that they're ones that you want to be looking at, you want to be doing, pulling for information, especially just considering some of your topics for the class. So that's pretty much it for this week. I'm really looking forward to hearing your topic sounded so amazing and so interesting, and I know you're going to get some good argumentation and some good pieces out of it, especially next week as we pick the pace back up a little bit more. Now, I wanted to talk about actually delivering your speech. I know all of you can deliver a great speech. Oops, and I'll go back out here for a second so you can see this. I know you all can, I know you all have, but particularly for a class where maybe you're writing a full-length paper and you have a speech component to kind of complement that, I just want to go through and give some tips and tricks and some better guidance for you as you're applying this to this class and to other classes as well. So one of my first things I always say is know your motive for speaking, and obviously you're fulfilling this for an assignment, but why are you actually speaking? There's always sort of one compelling reason above all others. There's sort of always like that thesis component to it. What is your main point? Are you looking to influence opinions? Are you sharing some sort of message? Are you solving a problem? Do you want name and brand recognition? Are you wanting to improve your public speaking skills? These are all great motives, and often at times you're going to need almost all of these and not just one. For us, particularly this time, we're accomplishing our paper and our speech goals. And I'll go through in a separate set of notes some of our rubrics and what we hope to achieve in this class through each and every assignment. So knowing your motive is really important. Understanding the requirements in the audience. Making sure you fulfill the requirements of the assignment. This is why anytime I'm writing or doing something, I like to make sure I always have my assignment sheet next to me or up on the computer screen. Thinking about who's in your audience, what their interests and desires are, what kind of messaging they will respond to. For us, it's great because we're really working towards reaching each other in the classroom, and everyone was so receptive to each other's topics that I know you're going to be really interested in listening and hearing exactly what each other has to say, and in turn reading that in papers. So think about your delivery style. If you're someone who definitely gets anxious and nervous, no matter if it's 100 people or 3 people when you get up to a group, maybe change up the way you deliver your papers and deliver your speeches. Maybe try to do something a little bit different to ease your anxieties and to reach your audience a little bit better. Think of it as sort of a challenge for yourself. When you decide on your overall message, this is really important. You got to be crystal clear with it. So if the audience forgets everything you said, yet remembers sort of this overarching message, it's okay. You've done your job. It's almost like what would be your commercial 1-minute preview of what would happen in your argument too. Don't forget, your message will some way in shape or form mirror the thesis that you have for your paper. So you want to make sure that you have them closely aligned and sort of matched up to what it is that you're talking about. What I find especially helpful to go through, and I know not everybody loves these, but I definitely do, making sure you do outlines. I cannot stress enough the importance of outlines. They're so important in writing. It's so important in speech making. It is the bare bones of your speech. It's the body without clothes. That might sound like a super lame analogy, but it literally is the body without clothes. It's your foundation. It's the high level components of your speech. So you will not get to say everything in your speech that you get to say in your paper. That's okay. The speech can be the parts that you want to highlight specifically in verbal form to your classmates and to me. The speech is where you can create narrative. It's the place where you can frame all of the research that you say and highlight some of the best parts of the research that you found. You know, think about that game plan. How is the talk going? It's seems very all-consuming when you're thinking about creating a whole speech, but when you go over it in your mind, you can have a great story to open. You can open with a great quote. You can use some humor into your introduction, depending on how long your speech is. Then, just as you would in any paper, you lead into your objectives, your main point, the experience that you're giving here. How are you building credibility? You're bringing in research. You're citing some quotes. You're citing some passages. You're citing perhaps imagery. You're citing other different types of sources that you found. You cover your main sections that support your message, and you close up. Closing and opening are always the hardest parts, and I know that's something that we'll look and kind of rework a bit more. Building good content into your speech, it's not enough just to have confidence in yourself, which is wonderful, but you've got to have some of these other areas in order to have a good speech. You need some of these to have a good paper. You absolutely have to have strong points. It's great if you have an awesome topic, but that topic cannot stand on itself without strong legs, strong arms, a strong body. You have to have supporting material. This goes along with proof and evidence. There's a reason why we research. You're going to be incorporating your research findings. Your point of view is not enough here. Though we appreciate it and we like hearing about personal experience and stories when they relate to your topic, it's not enough for an academic writing class. You have to have these other components that match up with that too. Then, of course, you can fill in the other areas here because, like any good writer, any good speech maker, you have a nice balance of all these different areas of content into your speeches. Review it, practice. Like I told my other class, I'm not going to do my Allen Iverson practice, and interpretation, though I will do it if you really need me to help you with that. Practice it, honestly. I know it's awkward saying it out loud to yourself. Review it, read it first, go through the flow of it. It's often when people don't go through the flow and they don't review that they stumble so very much in a speech. Same thing if you didn't review a paper, you would still find so many other errors in there. Think about your delivery style. You have a great unique style of writing. How is your delivery style as a speech maker? For this speech, I said you don't have to use visual aids or something in terms of presentation slides unless you want to. So how creative are you in incorporating some of these other ways into your delivery style? That's totally up to you. Your style can be starting off with certain areas and working into warming the audience up on your actual topic. Maybe you choose to dive in first and then sort of lean out with some personal narratives and stories. Maybe you're very interactive with your audience, which is so awesome, and you're asking them questions and sort of posing these questions that you want them to ruminate on throughout your entire speech. That's also really great too. It's awkward and we're gonna do it, but you have to record yourself on audio or video, especially recording yourself on video. I think there are so many times when we as speech makers feel like we're connecting with our audience, but I know sometimes I've been in some speeches and some lectures and other types of oral presentations where I don't think the speaker has looked at me once, and it's been in a small room. How well do you acknowledge your audience? How well do you transition from reading and thinking about what's on topic to making those connections with your audience members? And what's great is we're not a huge group, so this way you can really focus on making sure that you reach each person, that you look at each person, that you can formally connect. It's awkward, but in any class, recording yourself for audio or video, reading your paper out loud, reading a speech out loud helps. I cannot impress upon how much it helps with that. And the last two tips that I really have very much kind of translate off the other areas. Give the speech to family or friends if you can. Have a roommate read it over. If you don't want to actually perform the speech for them, have them read it over. Tell your family about what you're doing. I really think a lot of your friends and family would find our topics really interesting that we've been discussing and that you're picking for the class. Choose a mantra. I am a firm believer, and if you have confidence in yourself, you can get yourself through any assignment, problem, speech, test, paper. Choose a positive mantra. Maybe it's, I can do hard things. Maybe it's, I have confidence in myself. Maybe it is, I have prepared, and I'm ready to give this speech. I'm ready to write this paper. It makes a huge difference. Confidence is key. It's key in having confidence in yourself in writing, but most especially when you're up in front of a group of people or a crowd. That confidence goes on to the crowd too. If you feel good, they will feel good and they will respond well to your speech and the content that you give. Again, these are just different types of tips that I have found so very helpful for myself. One thing we'll look at this semester, I'm a huge fan, as I said, of TED Talks. I truly believe that 99% of TED Talks embody all of these tips and qualities of a great speech that has been adapted off of research, translated into speech form, and then thus connects to the viewers, the listeners, the readers. So I am so excited. Please try to mine through some of these tips, and we'll talk about maybe working with some of them as we are in class this week.